Contrary to popular belief, the comic book industry is dead. There are some who think and claim that both manga and comic books are the same thing. They are not. They claim that it is so because of the word manga, they say, means comic book in Japanese, and that they share similarities. However, they also have certain differences, and one of the most important is that the comic book pros, and I'm talking about mainstream pros mainly, they don't work for manga, and you really don't see many manga creators working for the comic book industry. So with that difference there evident for everyone to see, what I am about to share with you is a shocking revelation. Really not that shocking if you consider the last 5 to 6 years in the comic book industry. And that is because they have finally released the April 2021 list of graphic novels for adults, and in the top 20 you will find no comic books. That's right, you will find no comic books at all. The list was shared, and there you have things like My Hero Academia, Goblin Slayer, Demon Slayer, whatever you want, you name them. All of these things that you find here, all of them are manga. Now, it's not only just new manga. It is things that have at least 6 years in the market, or started as late as 2015, 2017, maybe. And these things are still selling like pancakes, hot pancakes. Because of that, you see no comic book graphic novel there in the list. Yet, there are many who think that the comic book industry is just all so healthy. Remember how the last year when the numbers were released for 2019, how, predominantly speaking, we saw more graphic novels, more YA novels, and of course more manga than actual comic books. And remember how everyone said, no, the comic book industry is just doing perfect. The comic book industry is going fine. And there is nothing wrong with the comic book industry. It is just as good as always, if not better. Well, this is without a doubt confirmation of the contrary, because you pay attention to the numbers, and sure enough, they might think, well, we're doing fine because the numbers say that we have good sales all across the horizon. But remember once more, Diamond has never, and I don't think that they will ever, share the numbers of books sold to actual customers. Why? Simply put, because comic book stores don't reveal their numbers. So the only metric that we have, the only way to really test how successful something is how many orders are placed for certain solicitations. If you have, for example, 50,000 orders for the Amazing Spider-Man comic book month by month, you can see there a trend. If you have on the first month 50,000 orders for, Captain Marvel, and then for the next month the solicitations are reduced to maybe 10,000, then you see a tendency in the decline. Now, I am not much of a numbers guy, because I don't know anything about finance, but you can always go to Perch, Comics by Perch, and he has a very thorough breakdown of the numbers that are, around the comic book industry all the time, month by month even. But in the case of this bit that we have here, with the top 20 graphic novels not even being comic book oriented or adapted or any sort of thing like that, and manga dominating the spectrum, you can see the various problematics that are plaguing the comic book industry all the time. One of those is, of course, the price. For $4.99, you get a 22-page story. Whereas for pretty much the same amount, you get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of manga stories. And also, there, within that little detail, is also the quality of the stories that you are getting. Whereas with comic books, you normally get an issue where nothing really important happens, and there are just a bunch of friends trying to convince Carol Danvers to go on a date, on a blind date, for one complete issue, and there is no real action. And sometimes, even the next month, you will also find yet another slow paced issue, and the action doesn't really take off until the third month or maybe even the fourth month. That is an investment that many are not willing to take. With the pandemic and many people losing their jobs, this was even less of an opportunity. Considering also into that and adding to the equation the terrible decision that Diamond took at the beginning of the pandemic last year, when they decided to go out of business for a moment and they did not distribute product to the various comic book stores. You have there the perfect storm for people that collected comic books to simply stop, break the habit, and perhaps even never come back. There are some, of course, that changed the habit, moved to manga. Now that is what they are buying. They are enjoying it and they highly recommend it. Now, I am not saying that everyone that has read manga recommends it. What I am saying is that when they get a taste of that, they immediately identify quality and they invite others and encourage others to also join because it's good quality. Paying attention also to how well some anime movies have done, in contrast, stark contrast, mind you, to the Hollywood releases, then you can expect and you can also understand the reasons behind this shift, this change in the comic book industry. And I am using here the term comic book industry very broadly because I am also including those manga or graphic novels that made it into the top 20 and that also now considered bestsellers. But in reality, the comic book industry, the niche comic book industry that we know, that one is in shambles. That one is breaking down and going down the toilet because of also that quality we were talking about. There is no real quality in stories that are lecturing the audience, that are preaching to the readers how despicable people they are just for being white, how terrible they are if they don't check their privilege, and how stupid it sounds really to do that. But as Kelly Sue DeConnick wisely said, if you don't like her politics, don't buy her books. Nobody's buying them. Nobody cares about comic books anymore. They are paying attention to manga. But let them continue say that the comic book industry is in great shape. Well, from where I am standing, and considering these numbers we have just looked at, doesn't really look like you are doing that great. Manga is doing great. And with the most of the manga that is being consumed in the Western front, in the Western world, coming from Japan and not really created locally, you cannot expect that soon those that will be out of a job if the comic book industry breaks down will find a job in manga. So is it really that good for these people that manga is doing better? Is it really that good for them? Are they going to find any job, any future work if manga does well and the comic book industry falls down to the ground? When the chips are down, the only thing that I see is that the comic book industry is going to be even in more difficult situations. Dire straits for the comic book industry, while manga is going to be reigning supreme, and all thanks to just one little bit. Manga respects fans, Manga gives fans what they want. Manga does not preach to the readers. Conversely, the comic book industry is bent on changing the narrative, race and gender swapping characters because more representation, more diversity, and all that idiotic stuff that we already know coming from the SJWs. SJWs that, by the way, can stop fighting amongst each other, cannot stop attacking others, cannot stop at just saying you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Don't worry, Kelly the Comic, nobody's buying your crap. Nobody cares about your crap. Evidenced by the numbers for April 2021. And if the tendency continues this way, pretty soon the comic book industry will be long forgotten. Of course, you all have the last say in the matter. Down below in the comments, you can share your opinions. You can tell us what you think. I hope that you engage with this topic, as it is a very important topic. And to all of us who enjoyed American comics for quite a long time, this is not nice, but it's something that the industry itself was looking for since a very long time ago. As always, until next time, peace out.